Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer. In this video, we're discussing Death of a Travelling Man, written by MC Beaton. It's book 9 in the Hamish Macbeth mystery series. It's a cosy mystery series starring Hamish Macbeth, and it's set in the Scottish Highlands. This series is fun. It's got a lot of quirky characters. The mysteries are usually pretty good, but the characters are written usually very well. And the books are not very long, they're quite short books, but MC Beaton seems skillful at writing engaging and very well constructed characters in very short books. This book is no exception, and also in this book we get a bit of a change in the Priscilla and Hamish relationship. Something happens in this book between them. I'm not going to say what that is, you have to read it to find out, but if you're a regular reader of this series you may already know. But if you haven't read this book yet, read the rest of the series first, because you do need to read this in order. When we start this book, Hamish has been promoted and he has a new constable. And this new person is staying at the same house with Hamish, which is also the police station. And Hamish isn't happy. The new constable, Willie Lamont, he's a clean freak. He seems a bit OCD about cleaning and tidying, and it's driving Hamish crazy. He seems to be cleaning constantly, every hour, every day it seems. And even when they're investigating things, going outside the police station and going to talk to people, if he sees something that's a bit dirty or untidy, Willie gets the urge to clean or tidy, and he can't help himself. Also, he has trouble with words. So sometimes he doesn't know how to pronounce a word, and the word he chooses sometimes is very humorous, and that humour runs right through this book. And I enjoyed that. All these things round out the Willie character very well in my opinion, and he's a bit of a standout character in this book. But that's not the only bad news for Hamish in this book. Travellers are in the village, and these travellers are kind of like gypsies. Sean and Cheryl are their names, and they seem like trouble. When Hamish goes to talk to them to try to shift them out of the village, Cheryl just attacks him verbally, and it's just a string of bad language. And Sean just seems to be a bit of a smart aleck really to Hamish. He seems very clever, very sly in a way. Hamish tries to get rid of them, but Mrs. Wellington, the vicar's wife, decides they're harmless, and she lets them stay on the church land. So Hamish can't get rid of them after all. But all through this book, he's trying to find out ways to get rid of these travellers. He wants to get rid of them out of the village. He thinks they're trouble. A few things start going missing in the village. We have morphine going missing from the doctor's surgery. We have charity money going missing as well. Hamish suspects Sean and Cheryl, and he tries to investigate. He gets a search warrant for their caravan, but nothing's found. And other people in the village think that he's persecuting them. They think that he's picking on them because they're travellers. Later on in the book, we get our first victim, and it starts the murder mystery. And the victim is Sean, the traveller. This starts the whole investigation, and of course opens up a few suspects. Hamish isn't a suspect in this book. Other people end up being suspects for different reasons, and I won't go into the reasons because it ties into the crime too much. And I don't want to give that away because there are components to this investigation that are quite surprising, in some ways very shocking as well, but they're very interesting. The mystery in this book is very strong. I think it's one of the strongest mysteries so far from books 1 to 9. It's written very well, seems well thought out and well plotted, and the characters, both in the village and new characters for this book, are also well constructed. And the best thing about this book is the investigation, the mystery, centres around the village for most of the time, and I like that. Finally we have a book that centres around the village. We've missed that in most of the books so far in this series. We need that, I think. These books are strongest when they centre around the people in the village and that village life. Another key component in this story that I think was used very well by MC Beaton is we have a character called Mr. Ferrari, and he is the owner of the Italian restaurant in the village. He's written as almost being some sort of person who's linked with the mafia, or maybe part of the mafia himself. It just comes across like that, the way he's constructed in the book, and I like that. It's used so well in this book to such a good effect, and I think MC Beaton was very clever in writing it this way, because it just opens up so many possibilities for this character, and the interactions between Mr. Ferrari and Hamish are very humorous, very engaging. They're quite gripping actually. Not gripping because they're tense and thriller-like, just gripping because they're very cleverly done. The last thing I'll mention about the plot is the change for Hamish and Priscilla. If you're reading from book 1, you'll know that throughout the series so far, their relationship always seems to be that they can be more than friends. It seems to be that way in the series. Will that happen in this book? Something does happen. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but something happens between Priscilla and Hamish. It's a change for them, and it could be an interesting change. So that's all I'll say about it. But finally, there's movement either way, whether it's, going less than friends or going more than friends. There's movement either way in the series for this book. So it's interesting for that. You have to read it to find out what it is. And will it lead into book 10? Who knows? I'm not going to tell you that either. The first character I want to mention from this book is Willie Lamont. He's such a standout character in this book. I'm not going to tell you how much he appears later on in the series, or if he does. If you haven't read it, you can find that out when you read. But in this book, he's a standout character. He's very humorous in his OCD cleaning and tidying. Even when they're on a case, out on a scene somewhere on a case, he can't scratch that itch to clean and tidy. And most of the time, he does. He does start cleaning and tidying, and it's very humorous to see Hamish's reactions to that, and other people's reactions as well. Also, just the way he mispronounces words or gets words wrong completely when he's talking. Sometimes it's just quite innocent and you have a bit of a giggle, but sometimes just the innuendos from that are very humorous, and MC Beaton was so clever in the way this character was constructed. It adds a lot to this book. I think Willie is a standout, a great character. Mr. Ferrari is another character for me that's a standout in this book. He owns the Italian restaurant in the village. He's a standout because of the way he's created. The way he interacts with people, especially Hamish, he comes across as like this mafia boss or something, or this ex-mafia boss, or connected to the mafia in some way. He has this kind of tough guy image going on, and he's very sly. He doesn't tell things to Hamish when he should. He hides things from Hamish in the investigation, and it just makes him feel like he's, doesn't mind stepping outside the law a bit or pushing the rules a bit. And I like that in this character. It makes for very funny situations in the book. It makes him stand out a lot. And I just like the way he's constructed. So another character in this book that MC Beaton is very clever in the way he's fleshed out for the series, and I enjoyed that so much. I really enjoyed this book in the series. So it's book 9 in the Hamish Macbeth series, and I enjoyed this one. It's one of the strongest mysteries so far, maybe the strongest mystery so far from books 1 to 9. I just love the fact that it's set in the village for most of the book anyway. We get more well-rounded descriptions and development of some of the people in the village, and we need that. Some of the characters that I didn't mention in the section on characters, we got more about Mrs. Wellington, the vicar's wife. We got more about Angela Brodie, the doctor's wife. We got more about the twins, Nessie and Jessie. We have more about them in the book as well. It just builds them up more in the series, and you get to know them more. It's important in this series because this series runs for many books. I think there's over 30 books in this series, and you can't have that many books if the readers don't get to know and understand the characters in a lot of detail. That's one of the strengths in this series. MC Beaton really knows how to write good characters. I rate this 4 out of 5. A great mystery, great characters, even new characters who are brought in just for one book are great characters as well. On my channel, I review a lot of cozy mysteries. If you like cozy mysteries, check out my channel and subscribe. I also have Hamish Macbeth playlist on my channel. It should be on your screen now.